There's a certain feeling I get when my waiter's unattractive. You know, like you go into a restaurant and you're immediately hit with the aesthetics. And maybe before that, you kind of get preconditioned a little bit, right? Whether you saw something on TikTok, on Instagram, maybe you saw the Google reviews. You saw some pictures. Ooh, I know I'm going to get the spicy vodka. Ooh, I know I'm going to get this pizza. Ooh, I know I'm going to get the Thai curry, whatever it may be. You go in with this notion, right? This vision. Oh, I'm going to have such a delicious meal. It's going to be so aesthetic and flavorful. I'm not going to have to do the dishes. And all I have to do is throw a little money their way. Maybe I have a couple drinks. Maybe I'm having some conversation with some friends. What a good time. Going out to eat's got to be one of the best things in the world. It is. If you put everything on a list of like, hey, what do you thoroughly enjoy? Going out to eat, it's up there. It's got to be up there. So you go into this restaurant. You see the aesthetics. Maybe they have, some different type of artwork. Maybe their dishes are a certain cadence. Maybe they have a certain detail to attention. Like if you go to an Uchi and, people are revolving and they're always checking on you. Some of these restaurants that have superior service, right? I'm not talking about a Chili's. In a Chili's, some of these places, you know what you're going to get. You know what you're going to get. And then the one thing that can throw you off, that can throw off your entire journey, is what your waiter looks like. And I get hit with this here and there, right? But in LA, there's an expectation. There's an expectation that every waiter I get probably wants to be an actor, right? Every waiter I normally have in Los Angeles, more than likely in his spare time, is auditioning for roles. These people are the most aesthetic waiters you've seen in all the lands. In Texas, sure, you get a big boy, you get a big girl. It happens, right? There's different classes. There's different, let's not call it classes. Let's not call it classes. There's different tiers to the waiters, right? Let's say groups, so we don't say that one's above the other one, even though we know they are. First, you got your old timers, right? You get an old timer in there. Maybe they've been working at the Cheesecake Factory for about 20 years. You can't doubt it. You can't knock it. They know the way of the land. They've been there. Cool. As long as they're nice to you, it's what's up. Then you get the aesthetic person. The aesthetic person that, sometimes you're like, hey, man, you talking to my wife a little too long. Hey, sometimes it's a lady and it's like, hey, you talking to me a little too long. You get the aesthetic person. And sometimes if they're not the greatest at their job, you forgive it, right? We've talked about the axis. And then the third group, right? You get a little quirky person. You get someone that tells a little couple too many jokes. They come in with the dad jokes. Hey, welcome, guys. And it's like, all right, this guy has a little too much. This guy has a little too much energy for me. There's these different groups, but only one group can really throw off your kind of dining experience. And that's the unesthetic group. And it's one thing if it's... No. Let's backtrack a little bit. So I sit down. Isha and I go out for dinner Friday night. We go to this restaurant called Ippudo. Pretty well known in New York for this like hole-in-the-wall ramen kind of joint, right? It's not a super big, fancy Tao level restaurant. Right. But, it's a ramen joint at the end of the day, but a little bit more aesthetic, right? Instead of all the woods, you get more of like a black interior. The bowls are black. You got a little bit of wood, a little bit of white. And you go in there, you're going to get. You're going to either get the little bit of chicken karage, maybe some edamame, a little spicy edamame, and then whatever pork broth dish that they recommend. That's what you end up getting. This dude comes up to our table. And everything was thrown off for me. Everything was thrown off to me. I know it's going to sound shallow, but that's why I'm opening with it. I don't know what it is. And are restaurants allowed to, they have to be able to, say something. In any profession where you're selling or services, how you look matters. Right? It has to. I used to sell shoes. I used to work at a store called Finish Line in the Irving Mall. We had a couple, big boys and girls, but they were still fun. They had a personality. They were moving around. They were great at their job. They could look at your feet and be like, yeah, you 8.5. Boom, they got you 3 pairs. Boom, they got you insoles, socks, cleaners, whatever you need. They got it. They were good at their job. Like we've always talked about, there's an access to this shit. And if you're not that good looking, you better be funny. You better be funny. We get this waiter, and then all of a sudden things just go downhill from there. The ramen shows up and something just in there. First of all, we get this cucumber dish. We were super excited. Because it's like, oh shit, an Ippudo is opening up near us in downtown Culver City. We gotta go. Oh, let's have a little date night. Let's go there. Oh, we're super excited. You walk in. It's like, yo, these guys barely even like redid the image of the place that was here before them. Now you sit down. We already talked about the waiter. The food comes. It's all oily. And it's like, damn, bro. And something about like just the programming in your head from one step to another, right? You already saw it on Google reviews, and it's like, dang, why does this place already have a rating like this going into it? It's only been open a week. Then we got the waiter. Then the cucumber that needed salt. Then you get the ramen that's just all oil-based. And it's like, I'm having a really bad time here. And the one thing that kind of in my head set everything off to have almost like a negative connotation was getting this big boy as my waiter. And now don't get me wrong. I love a good big boy. But the weight got to be properly distributed. You know what I'm saying? This one, it was just like, oh, something happened. Something happened where you just, you might have like a little medical thing. And if that's the case, I feel for you. I'm not here as someone, that's trying to say like, oh, you just because that you shouldn't be able to get a job, this and that. You should, but you should be washing the dishes. You should be maybe creating the menu, maybe cooking the menu. You got to have an aesthetic waiter or someone that's an old timer. In what world do I want to ask this person, what do you recommend? Obviously, he hasn't been able to handle his food correctly. Obviously. And so now we, obviously I'm not a mean person. I can't be a mean person. And then it made me think, obviously a big controversial talking piece of this year has been DEI. Oh my gosh, Trump's getting rid of DEI. He's the worst in the world. Oh, where's he getting rid of it from? I don't know, but it's bad either way. I've talked about my feelings on the podcast about DEI. I think it is important. As America, the melting pot, to have it in a lot of cases, whether it's, like a tech job, maybe you work at a hotel, you got to have a couple of colored different faces in there. It spreads culture. It spreads acceptance. And sometimes you just need a little bit of an edge, right? The applicant pool may be, let's say, 80% white, 20% Asian. Where do you fit in that? So I understand you need a little bit of a wedge to get into this hiring stuff sometimes. But nowhere in those three letters does it talk about someone's aesthetic. It's DEI, not DEIA, right? Is inclusion part of that? And so this is where I'm trying to like make sure we draw a line. Do I think DEI should exist in essential roles, right? People that are in Secret Service, people that are firemen, firewomen, firefighters in general, cops, whatever it is. Essential roles, throw that shit out the window. But for waiters and stuff like that, I get it. Yes, you should have a black waiter. You should have a white waiter. You should have an Indian waiter that doesn't know English and he's in school trying to get his visa. Yes, you should do all this. But they better be funny. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ajay Patel Show. My name is Ajay Patel. I think we're on episode 64. I was doing some mental math in the shower today, and I was like, are we going to hit 100 by the end of the year? And mathematically, I don't think that's feasible, right? I think we can get to high 90s at best. But with that being said, I do apologize for the lack of episode last week. What I've been up to, baby showers and birthday parties. Yes, my now sister-in-law had 2 baby showers. 2. Did I complain about it? No, because it's actually kind of normal. Like when my sister did it, and there was the one that like my family threw, right? Her mom threw for her. And then in our culture, there's a little bit more religious aspect to the one that's thrown by the mother-in-law. So then there ends up being 2. You can't fight it. It is what it is. Went to a couple baby showers, and sometimes these things are a breeze. right? Especially in this case where I kind of just show up, drink, ha ha, hee hee a little bit, and then it's back to, back to the state, back home. And it's so easy when that happens. For the one that we went to in Houston, right off the tail end of that, we went to Dallas the next day for my youngest nephew's birthday party, second birthday party. And look, I'm good with kids. I want to get that out there so people know that, like, if you ever need me to watch your kid, I'm good. I'm perfectly capable of it. But when it becomes too many kids, I just get freaked out. And this birthday party was on a playground. And there's nothing worse than me trying to watch my two nephews and their friends run around this playground with how much anxiety I have. The entire birthday party, I just stood by the pizza. I even recognized, damn, bro, you've been standing by this pizza for a while. But I tried to go out there. I tried to go out to the playground, and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I became this helicopter, this helicopter uncle. I was trying to figure out how I was related to these guys. I almost said dad. I became a helicopter uncle. And that's no fun, right? As a kid, you want to be able to run around, do what you want, play with your friends without this big old dude trying to be like, no, be careful, don't do, hey, be careful. You don't want that. You don't want that. But I can't help it. So I, just me being myself, I said, you know what, let me just remove myself from this situation. Not even a situation. Let me just remove myself from this so everyone can have a better time. People that are more equipped to be watching kids are watching them, and I'll just go eat some more pizza. But that's what I've been up to. It's been quite a bit, right? Like the traveling and then flying back in on a Monday and trying to hop back into work. It's taking its toll in some places. And I wanted to kind of make sure I put a note on the front end of this podcast to know, like, it's time to dial in. Like we've been saying it a handful of times throughout episodes for the top half of this year where it's like, it's time right now to dial in. With the weddings behind us, we got nothing but the rest of my life ahead of me. It's time to dial in. Flying back in on a Monday's cool and all, but you got to get back to work. And I end up in these like mental vacations every time I go home, and it's like, damn, I just want to spend time here. I want to hang out with my mom, dad. I want to hang out with my sister, brother-in-law, my nephews, friends. I also want to just kick it. I want to go, check out a couple restaurants or two. And some of this stuff needs to kind of just take back seat. And so I'm trying to program, and on top of that is the podcast. I've decided to do this thing. I've decided to commit myself, right? So why am I missing an episode? Either way, all that to say, I apologize. That's what I've been up to. On top of that, I just watched the Lakers go down 3-1 to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and it's rough. I also didn't feel anything. I think the way that kind of the sports season has gone, and don't worry, I'm not going to talk sports too long. The way the sports season has gone, I just don't feel any type of pain after Luka got traded. And it's also like my team isn't even in the playoffs, right? The Mavericks are not in the playoffs, so it's hard for me to get fully invested. I've already lost some money on the playoffs, sure. But it's hard for me to, care. I understand Luka. Oh, that's your boy. That's your boy. You should care, right? It's tough. It's tough. If he lose, I'm like, And on the topic of sports, have you guys watched an episode of Kunal's Corner yet? Have you listened to an episode of Kunal's Corner yet? That podcast has been moving. And man, it is so much easier to produce than that. Like, obviously this show's a good time, right? I talk into the abyss. I do a little cuts here and there. But when you have someone, like anytime I have a guest episode, I have heard kind of higher reviews of it. Obviously people watch it more because it's like, oh, I get to see this person, a little bit of variation, maybe some topics people enjoy. So for the sports stuff in general, an easy topic to talk about. You can kind of go on nonsense and a lot of hypotheticals forever. And then having Kunal being the show host and the guy that's running the whole thing, I just get to sit back. Imagine me being the secondary talker. Oh my goodness. I think this might be, like the future job that I'm looking for, where I just go to other people's podcasts and just talk. I don't have to edit. I don't have to publish, none of that stuff. I just show up. You put a microphone in front of me. I do the work. I leave. If you guys don't know, I actually do a podcast for Firefox. That's right. I do a podcast for Firefox Mozilla. Mozilla Firefox? Maybe I should know what order to say that in. But I auditioned for I've kind of alluded to it a couple of times, but I haven't really shared anything on it because, I just don't care. It's like I'm doing the job. The topics I don't really gel with, but at the same time, it's a gig. I'm getting paid. So I don't want to kind of be pushing the envelope too much, right? Pushing my views and, AI is bad. I don't think so. Right? I don't think so. But I also don't want everyone on this set to feel like I'm some Nazi for AI. So with that all being said, check out Kunal's Corner. I'll try to actually add a tab to my YouTube page that has audio episodes of that. I need to create the YouTube page for that, so that's a good note. In addition, I'll add the Firefox pod stream. I don't think you'll enjoy it much, but if you do, whatever, nonetheless. Now, I need y'all to take it easy on Katy Perry. We talked about it last episode where this whole space mission, it was cool. I didn't realize it was going to get this much bad PR. And at first I kind of laughed about they wanted to push this agenda for, look, this is the first all women crew that went to space, this and that. And then I just saw nothing but ladies hating it. I think dudes were pretty envious and they laughed about it, but they weren't too outspoken about it, right? You can't be, because then, And then sure enough, the ladies came and hated on it. And then the internet took over. Took over, as it always does, calling the space mission fake. Oh, look, like they were in space for 5 minutes. Why were they looking at a camera when you're literally in the upper atmosphere looking down? And that is a good point, right? Is that how far we've come as civilization, where you leave? Think about a plane ride. Anytime you lift off, anytime you take off and, you start getting to that altitude where you're about to break the clouds, you can't see the city anymore. It's a beautiful sight. You look out into the clouds, you're like, damn, it's quite mesmerizing up here. You might pull out your phone, take a little cheeky video that you're never going to use, take a picture that you put on your story. It's a sight to see. Now, let's say you go a little bit further and you can see the Earth. You can see the planet you live on. I got this feeling when, I forgot it was the solar eclipse or the total eclipse, whatever it was called, where the moon kind of goes in front of the sun for a moment of total darkness. And, everyone was buying these glasses to make sure they had proper protection for viewing it. You had to have the certain glasses to view it correctly. And it was a beautiful thing. It makes you feel like nothing actually matters. I am just an ant on this earth. All these things moving, all this stuff, this universe is way beyond me. And so if I ever got the opportunity to leave the planet and I had some windows to look out of, there's no chance I would be, looking into a camera. Do I think it was fake? Not really. I don't know. It doesn't seem worth faking, right? All the fellas went up there, did the whole thing. Then they sent this lady crew. Oh, the jokes were endless on the internet. And now they're killing Katy Perry. And look, y'all got to take it easy on her. She wasn't the only lady on that ship. She's just the most notable. And I get it. Oh, well, you made fun of her on the last episode. That's when I thought it was cool. Now everyone's doing it. So it's just kind of lame, Who else do you know has ever announced their tour dates as you hear the dishwasher beeping in the back? Who else do you know has... I'm actually just going to go walk over there and open this shit. Y'all, if y'all don't know, you got to always go as soon as the dishwasher is done. Open that bad boy up, put a towel in, close that bad boy, and then come back and finish your podcast. Who else do you know has gone to space and has shown their tour dates? That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. The whole flower thing wasn't that cool. The kiss in the ground thing wasn't that cool. But she's been the quirky waiter. You know, she probably did a stint in LA where she was a waiter for a while. And she was like, do you guys want the triple dipper? That's Katy Perry. That's Katy Perry. It always has been Katy Perry. And now people are just destroying her for she's actually on tour now. And so people are killing her where, you know, like the choreography is weird. The set list is weird. Her, you know, everything just feels lackluster. And now the running joke has become, oh, you should have spent more time in rehearsal versus in space. And it's like, back up. You know, like does the internet deserve to kill you on this? Yes, it does. You decided to be part of this space mission. Someone called you a female astronaut, and you could have easily said, well, there's actually been plenty of female astronauts before me, and I also didn't really do anything. I just kind of sat in this vessel, went up to space, came back down. Should I be applauded for being brave on hopping in this death tube? Sure. Am I an astronaut? No. We had a couple of astronauts that were stuck in space for a while. Stuck. Do you know their names? No. Do you know who saved them? Yeah. But we can't talk about him anymore. But let's focus on the thing that matters. You don't know the name of the astronauts that got stuck in space, that literally got stuck in space. And here we are, Katy Perry landing back on Earth, and we call her an astronaut. I know the message is a little bit conflicting. Do we support her? Do we not support her? Whatever it is. But the thing that matters most is that they're taking out the dye from hot Cheetos and other bags. That's right. Bobby Kennedy, part of the Trump administration, you know, they promised us that they would do right by the Food and Drug Administration. And for those that keep up, for the most part, the food is poison in America. Do we all agree? The food is the best in the world. Is it poison? Yes. But sweet is the fruit. You know what I'm saying? The food is poison, yes, but it's also the best. Anywhere you go. So, you know, you can talk all that shit you want. I even talked about it before where I went to Italy. I had pizza, I had pasta. Sure, it might have felt more fresh. Sure, I didn't feel as heavy. I was also walking like 30,000 steps a day, but I guess I won't factor that into anything. Sure, it might be more fresh and I don't feel so heavy. But it's not as good. Have you ever had a Domino's pan pizza? Have you ever had a pizza from John and Vinny's or the Honey Bastard from Cane Rosa? There is not a pizza in the rest of this world that can go toe to toe with the shit that America produces. And I stand by that. You pick the cuisine, right? America's the melting pot. They've come here because you know why? They don't want to keep cooking out of their shack. They don't want to keep getting robbed. They want to go to America. They want to have a little food truck. Oh shit, the food truck's doing good. I think we should open a little brick and mortar. All right, well, shit. Now, you know, like I've also reached a ceiling of how much money I can make and this rent is due. So what should I do? Oh, I should upgrade to a restaurant. Oh, now you're in the endless cycle. That's the dream. The living dream is to cook until you don't enjoy it anymore. And that's what America is. We went to a place last night called Pizzeria Say. This dude has apparently gone around Los Angeles just absolutely killing it. And sure enough, that pizza was amazing. It looked just like, you know, a Neapolitan would from Italy. But it tasted good. The food in America is the best. Yes, it is also poison, right? Have you ever had a bag of hot Cheetos? Look to your left and look to your right. Someone you know loves hot Cheetos. Me personally, I've never actually been a big fan. I don't like all the residue on my fingers. I'm a fan of Cheetos Puffs. I like to grab it almost like my fingers are chopsticks. Boom, one, boom, two, boom, I finished the bag. And that's how it always goes. I've never been a big fan of the hot Cheetos. I like hot fries here and there. When I'm driving, I lick my fingers. I wipe my fingers on my jeans. Come on. We're being honest, right? We're being honest. But this has been a thing where everyone has kind of talked about, oh, like some of these things that are in these foods are really bad for us. Oftentimes on TikTok, you'll see that it comes across as like, oh, it's cancer causing, or it causes this, it causes this. And I don't want to put too much weight onto that because I haven't done any research, nor do I believe half the stuff I'm seeing online. But I don't know when was the last time you had a bag of Cheetos? Not Doritos. Doritos is pretty solid. Cheetos, what's another chip that I always feel like I'm like dead afterwards? Ruffles. I don't know what they're putting in Ruffles. But my body just cannot comprehend having those anymore. And so if you haven't kept up, the food and drug, so part of the Trump administration, while they were marketing for their campaign, a big point was, hey, we want to tackle all the bullshit that's happening in America as far as food goes, right? The FDA. And there's been times that I saw on HBO Max that it was talking about the produce and how the produce is sprayed with water that's basically mixed in with shit. Yeah. It was pretty wild. It was on Tonight with John Oliver. And Ish and I were sitting there like, yo, wait, what? Like if there's an ounce of truth to this, that's pretty insane. That I go buy, a head of lettuce from Whole Foods, and more than likely it has like 13 different bacterias on it. Oh, well, you got to wash it, obviously. Yeah, I know, but still. I should be able to, grab a tomato off the stand and just bite it. You ever been to a farmer's market? That's how it is. Yes, it's like $4 a tomato, but that's the trade-off. The freshness. You go to other countries, that's kind of how it is. It's not as readily available because, America's just land of the what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? Gluttonous, right? The gluttony. We want to make sure we have 1 million tomatoes at all times. The only thing we run out of here is eggs. It's the only thing we run out of. You ever gone to the grocery store? You always find tomatoes. A couple of avocados may have gone out. We run out of eggs, but produce, we push like a motherfucker. And half the time we don't even know, like, do I need to be washed? Or is this properly washed? Am I applying it to heat? Okay, then maybe I can, forgive a thing or two. So this kind of this world of food kind of ceiling crashing down on itself has been happening for a while now. And it could probably be attributed to the knowledge transfer that TikTok has served. But this was a big selling point of the Trump administration. Bobby Kennedy has now kind of taken some of these steps. And some of the things he says is pretty wild, right? Like, I don't know if you've kept up with any of the stuff he's been saying about autism, that, we're getting autism through the food, this and that. Like, go look at it yourself. But the thing that we're focusing on today is that they're removing certain dyes and colors from things like hot Cheetos, certain Doritos, Funyuns, whatever it may be. Why does this matter? Well, firstly, it is killing us, right? Like, it isn't good for you, especially if the stuff has evolved over the years to make it cheaper to produce. Maybe it's a little bit more addicting, right? Maybe it has a little bit more of a salt element. And the question for the common person is always just like, well, why do they put that in there then? If that is so bad for you, then why do they put it in there? And I really do think it's just because they can get away with it. Even with the FDA being who they are, they can just get away with it. Oh, look, it passes tests X, Y, and Z, so therefore you have to approve it. If you go to any other countries, and this is a trend you could probably find on TikTok or any other social media, is you'll see someone kind of compare a bag of Cheetos from Germany versus Cheetos from America. And you see all the extra shit in there. Does one taste better? Probably, right? I told you, the food in America is the best. The hot Cheetos from America probably does taste better. But how it's actually digesting in your system, what your system's probably taking away from that food, yes, we know either way, either bag of chips, you're not getting a bunch of nutritional value. But it's some of the shitty stuff that's also getting absorbed in your blood. I'm no doctor, right? But I'm just a logical person. I'm just assuming that if there's all this shit in the food, then all that shit is now in me. And so I'm kind of excited for it. I know people have this stigma of like, well, anything that comes out of that administration is shit. And it's like, That is such a shitty thing a shitty viewpoint to have. We got this dude for the next 4 years. We got this homeboy taking care of the food and drug stuff for the next 4 years. Let's try to get something out of it. Let's try to get some wins out of this. Sure, everything's not going to go correct. Yes, tariffs will fuck some shit up. The market will keep getting manipulated. Maybe it's an opportunity to get rich, though. But still, I'm kind of excited to see where this whole thing of food and drug goes, because personally, as someone that's been eating, I've been eating the Cheetos, the McDonald's, the Taco Bell for years now. And I don't know whether it's just my body that just can't agree with it anymore. And I'm like, damn, bro, I just feel so much heavier than I used to when I was eating it like at 23. Right? I'm not even talking about as a kid. Obviously, your body can do more back then. So all that to say, Pope Francis died. And I don't know too much about him, so we're actually not going to talk about that. And my last story of the day, ladies and gentlemen, is I wanted to talk about Hollywood. Is Hollywood back? Is Hollywood back? I know a couple weeks ago I was here talking shit about the new Snow White, but I think Hollywood might be back. I think they got out of two curves. They got out of two pitfalls. One, the pandering curve, the pandering pitfall. Oh, we got to make every character this and that. We got to make sure they don't identify, or they're this gender, or they're this race, this and that. And they pandered a little too much. And they lost quality on the actual movie. Second pitfall, probably the bigger one, was the writer's strike. I don't think people, and myself included, realized how big of an impact that was. I need to get someone that's in the business to actually talk about this shit, so it would just be so much more insightful. But the writer's strike. You don't have some of your most talented people writing scripts. Then these scripts get bought, adopted, produced. That takes another 3-4 years. So I think we're finally getting out of this curve now. This pitfall now, where we're starting to see some of these movies come out. It's like, oh shit, that wasn't bad. Yeah, I'm talking about a Minecraft movie. It might be a little animated, but it worked out. Next, you get this movie that I'm going to talk about that we went to go see last week. After that shitty Ippudo, we went to go watch the man himself, Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan. We went to go watch Sinners. Now, I wanted to watch this mainly because everyone had been raving about it. Everyone was just talking about how good of a movie it was. Just literally good movie. And it's like, oh, damn, I've never really watched a Michael B. Jordan movie. I watched Creed 3 on the plane, and then I've watched Black Panther 1. It's not really Michael B. Jordan movies, right? Creed 3 is, yeah, sure. But, so seeing Sinners, and on top of that, it was a horror film, which I'm not a fan of. I hate horror films. I don't like being scared. I already got enough anxiety as it is. So I'm not a big fan of the jump scares and this and that. But this was pretty good. If you haven't gotten a chance to see it, you got to go see it. Maybe wait till it's on Redbox. Maybe wait till it's on Netflix. But I think it was a good movie, and it was just so simple, right? You're starting to see these scripts that aren't kind of copy and pasted over and over again. Such a unique movie where I had not seen anything like this. There's obviously parts that I'm like, oh, okay, they took this from this kind of feel. So, for example, Michael B. Jordan, he's not a slave himself. I think he was a free guy, but some of the people that he brings into this party that they're throwing, they're all slaves. This is during the time of slavery. And it reminded me of a movie back then where there's so much, emphasis on the life of, okay, this is how these people, this is the community that they live in, this is how they dress, this is how they walk, this is how they talk, this is who they are. And then you add in this horror layer. Yes, obviously, the white people are the devil, and they come, and the rest is the movie. But there are so many factors in this movie that I was just like, this was a good movie. One being it was unique. Two, Michael B. Jordan, I think, did a great job. Some of the scenes where they had him playing a twin, it was a little weird. And it was just like, I could clearly tell that you're not interacting with a person, right? You're not interacting with someone on screen. You're kind of just making motions into a green screen character or something. Haley Steinfeld. Haley Steinfeld, whatever. She was good. She was good. Her dad's half mother was black. Therefore, she was part of the parties. That part was a little dumb, but she didn't try to black it up too much. She did such a good job just being in her role. She did her thing. People kind of exemplify all the sex scenes of the movie and how hot it was between her and Michael B. Jordan. Cool. I'm not here for all that. I'm here for a good movie. And the last aspect was, it wasn't too much on the horror side. They had a couple jump scares here and there, but I like that they kind of kept it chill. It wasn't like a, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Look how outdated my horror movie references are. What's another good one? Exorcist. So I overall enjoyed it. I recommend you go watch it. I didn't spoil too much, but maybe you just wait till it comes out on Redbox. But on the emphasis of, is Hollywood back? I've been seeing some billboards for like The Accountant 2. Some movie with Tom Hanks and a blockbuster squad in there. What's something else that's coming out? The Marvel movie with the people that you probably will forget, the Thunderbolts. So some of these things kind of make me feel like, oh shit, like I feel like there's a breath of fresh air coming back into the business. And you feel it as people kind of start gravitating to go to movies again, enjoying it again, sharing it again, talking about it, right? It becomes a talking point at work. Before, you used to just hear like, oh, you watched that new season of that? Oh, shit, yeah, oh, this shit. Oh, yeah, you watched Agatha? Ah, that's garbage. Even the TV shows have been getting better. If you haven't caught up with Daredevil, the new season with, I think it's Born Again, whatever the title is, on Disney+, it was great. It was great. They had a little bit of a little bit of killing stuff. They had a little bit of filler episodes. And once again, just a great storyline. Just some good content overall. So with that being said, I'm super excited to see kind of the future of where these, hopefully, these movies aren't just flops. And I'm going to go watch Thunderbolts. I'm going to go watch The Accountant 2. And it's fun to see this kind of like, is the gravitation going back towards these movies and things? Sure, yes, movies have gotten more expensive, but it's become cheaper than a lot of other things. You go bowling, that shit's an easy hundo. You go to, what's another thing that people do? Like a restaurant, right? A Dave & Buster's, some type of activity. That's an easy 100, 200, depending on how big your family is. The movies have gotten more expensive, sure, but you can share that $20 popcorn with like 10 people. On top of that, the other thing that I kind of wanted to mention, we talked about Katy Perry being on tour, but concerts in general. I've been reading about how those things have been struggling. Kendrick Lamar having struggles with selling out his audiences. Same thing with Katy Perry. Same thing with Beyonce. And worst part about it is I'm going to the Beyonce concert tomorrow night, this Monday. I'm set. I bought tickets during all the wedding nonsense. I almost said nonsense. All the wedding madness. I bought tickets because my credit card was already warmed up. He was already shooting, like 80% from the 3. So I said, you know what? Let me just buy some tickets. I bought some nosebleeds and I thought, it'd be cool. It'd be cool to go see the Queen. It'd be cool to go see a legend perform. I'm not the biggest fan of her discography, but I still recognize that's a legend. But at the same time, the thing that's kind of making me so dreadful for going is one, I have to go to Inglewood, go through that traffic at about 5, 6 p.m., whatever time, the doors open. Next, you got to find parking in some crazy lot. The getting there part's actually not too bad. You show up, you get a ticket, you park, you walk over, grab a drink, whatever. That part's good. It's the issue of it's time to go home, right? You're sitting in this parking lot for about an hour. You get home. Tomorrow's, another day at work. And on top of that, you just spent, let's say, $150 a ticket. Another, let's say 50 on parking. Another 100 on food and beverage. You got to get some merch, right? That's another hundo. You've easily, we're starting to talk 500 now. We're starting to talk 800 now. And so these excursions like to concerts and stuff have just gotten out of hand, have gone way out of hand. And we should probably just have a separate topic about this later, but I can see how and why this timing of having good movies and good material out is aligning perfect at a perfect time with people's needs, where people's wallets are. And so, all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, my name has been Ajay Patel. What we have coming up, just episodes as regular. We have another episode of Kunal's Corner hopefully coming out this week. I just have work and just hanging out at home. I'm trying to get back in the gym because your boy has been slacking, and trying to get that summer bod right, trying to get back into the groove of things, get a grind on. Like I said, guys, it's time to dial it in. You turn off this podcast after this and you think about some shit you have to do. You think about some shit you have to do. Don't even write it down. Don't write it down. Make sure it's in the front of your head and you just go do that shit. You feel overwhelmed with all the shit you have today? Don't worry about it. There's no point of being overwhelmed. Just start doing something. Acknowledge you're overwhelmed and say, all right, what's the only way out of this? I gotta just start doing some shit. Ladies and gentlemen, my name has been Ajay Patel. I'll see you guys next week, and goodbye.